What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Texas Redfish Hunter TV. Today I'm going to be bringing you through my favorite reels on the market. I've got both bait casting reels and spinning reels, and I use these things day in and day out, and I love them, and I'm going to bring you my tips for what you should look for in a kayak fishing reel. Alright, so the first thing that I want to talk about are my favorite spinning reels on the market, and I have a very strong brand loyalty to Penn spinning reels. And there's a very good reason for this, because they've never let me down. My dad actually got me into fishing, and he's had the same two Penn spinning reels since 1986, and he still uses them today. And I've used those same reels when I go out for bull reds. So the fact that they've lasted that long now, over 20 years, 30 years now? 30 years? Holy crap. 30 years that he's had those reels, and they're just still in great working condition. So that's why I use them. And Penn has some super good reels still on the market today. I'm going to start with the Spinfisher 5. So here's a close-up look at my Penn Spinfisher 5. I have a 3500 size for my kayak reel. Now this thing is a great reel to have. It's an all-around reel. The thing about this Spinfisher 5 is it's built for durability. This thing is built to not take in water, so you can dunk this thing underwater and it's not going to get inside of this reel, which makes it very durable, especially for kayak fishing, which is something you really want. The downside to this reel is it is a bit heavy, so it's definitely one of the heavier reels out there, but it makes up for it in the fact that you can dunk this thing and it's not gonna get hurt at all. And you know, freshwater rinse down afterwards like you should always do to your reels, and this thing is just gonna stick with you. It's a fantastic surf fishing reel as well. If you're a surf fisherman, this is the best reel on the market, honestly. This thing retails at about $170. You can get them cheaper in other places. When they first came out, they were like $200, so now they're just bargains. I love this reel. So I have this in 3500 size. I would go as low as a 2500 size on this reel, simply because it does make it a little bit lighter since it is heavy. The 2500 is still a good size reel for inshore fishing in your kayak, which is what I do most of the time. The 3500 size though is a perfect medium. It's perfect for, you know, going inshore, but I've also caught monster bull reds on this thing. You can take this thing offshore, and like I said before, it's a great surf fishing reel. So all around, this Spinfisher 5 is just absolutely incredible. And another thing about this reel is I liked it so much I have two of them. So if that tells you anything, I bought another one after I bought the original one because of how good and how well this thing stood up to saltwater fishing. Alright, so that was the Spinfisher 5. Now I want to talk about this next reel, which is Cora's reel, which is the Penn Battle 2. And this is actually a 2500 size reel, like I was saying before, what I think is a good size for inshore fishing. And another thing about this reel is it is a 2500 size reel, but Cora and I caught a massive 45-inch, 50-plus pound black drum on this reel. This reel has done work on bull reds, so you not only can go inshore with something like this, even a 2500 size reel, you can go, you know, to catch some monster fish on this thing. That's how good these reels are made. Now this one isn't as much of a tank as the Spinfisher 5 is. This one does take on water if you dip it, so if you dip it, definitely clean it out really well. But in saying that, it still has held up so well to saltwater use. I've never had an issue with this thing. Occasionally, you know, always freshwater rinse down, occasionally clean it out. But other than that, it's a fantastic reel. It holds up really well. It can fight smaller fish all the way up to monster fish. I've never had a problem with this reel. This is why I love it so much, because it's lighter, way lighter. It's probably half as heavy as the Spinfisher 5, but it does all the work that a heavier reel would do. So when you're kayak fishing, you want a lighter reel, and that's why I think this is just the best spinning reel for kayak fishing, because it's light, but it's also very durable. If you're going to be throwing lures all day and throwing bait all day out of a kayak, you don't want to be carrying a heavy reel around. So you definitely want to keep it on the light side, and that's what I think this reel does phenomenally well. So I know Penn makes a couple other spinning reels that they have on the market. I really like the Battle 2, and you know, at $100 I think it is now, the Penn Battle 2, that is like the best reel I think you can buy on the market for $100. I've never used the Fierce. That one's their cheap one. I think that one's like $70, and I think they have one that goes down to $40. I've never used those, but I mean, I'm sure they're still really good reels. The newest reel I think they make is the Clash. I just looked at that one yesterday for the first time out at the reel store, and it looks fantastic. It looks like just a better version of the Battle 2, and the Battle 2's one of my favorite reels ever. So if that thing is, it's twice the price, it's $200, but if it's twice as good as this reel, it's just going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm looking forward to using that one. So if any of you guys have it, let me know how that reel is, because I really want to add that reel to my lineup. Alright, so now I'm done with my spinning reels. I've said what I had to say about those. I want to bring you my bait casting reels and why I like them so much. I'm going to start with the Shimano Corrado. This is a 200 6.3-to-1 gear ratio. So here's the Shimano Corrado. This is the first bait caster I ever bought, and this thing is just fantastic. I got it in the 200 size. That's pretty much as small as I would go for the type of fishing, inshore fishing that we do. Again, 6.3-to-1 gear ratio and right hand reel. I've got 12-pound mono on it right now. This thing is incredible. It's got a really good braking system. That lever, or that like spin wheel right there, is an easy way to change the braking system on the fly. So if the wind picks up, you can increase the brakes without even opening the reel up. You can change the brakes and make it easier to cast with the wind with this reel, which is what makes it fantastic. Also, you know, you can open this thing up and change the brakes fairly easily. So I opened it up and I'll show you what the inside, that's the braking system. Those red, the red things on the are pretty much the brakes themselves. You can turn them on and off. They're pretty easy to snap back in and out, but if you don't want to have to open up your reel while you're on the kayak, that spin wheel goes from 1 to 6, and that'll pretty much do, you can set it on like turn 2 of the brakes on, set that thing to between 1 and 6, and that's all you really will need to do while you are on the kayak. You can change that on the fly. It's a fantastic feature to have in a reel that's priced at about $170. I think it's just one of the best entry-level bait casters you can buy, and I've used this thing forever, and it's held up fantastic to saltwater, which is a really big deal for kayak fishermen in the inshore that I do all the time. So I think this is a great reel. So now the last reel that I'm going to talk about is my favorite reel I've ever owned. That is the 13 Fishing Concept C. That's a 7.3-to-1 gear ratio bait caster that I absolutely love, and I can't say enough good things about. So the last reel I want to talk to you about is my favorite reel, and that's this 13 Fishing Concept C. I've got it in a 7.3-to-1 gear ratio. That's a perfect speed for inshore fishing on a multitude of different baits. And I've got it in left hand reel. I've got it paired with 20-pound braid. That's just, you know, really good. You can get good sensitivity with that, and I think it matches really well with this reel. The great thing about this reel is, I mean, it's easy to cast. It's super smooth to reel in. The casting ability on this thing is just incredible. It's really easy to open and change the brakes if the conditions change. You can just flip this switch straight over to open. It opens right up. It's on a shaft, so it's not going to fall off while you're on the kayak, out of the kayak. This is the braking system. That's what I'm going to show you. It's the Concept braking system, and it's so easy to change on the fly. I'm going to put it down here and show you how easy it is to change this brake, change these brakes. You just hold the spool, you just turn the brake whichever way you need it to go, and it's down to 3. You can see there. If I want to turn it up, if it gets windier, turn it up to 5. I mean, just right there. That's how easy it is. You just open up the reel, hold the spool, change the brakes, and change the amount of pressure you put on that free spool. It's just so easy to do. And, you know, I keep it on usually about 3. That gives me a good enough free spool that I'm going to get a really long cast, but also I'm not going to backlash this thing. So you can pretty much set this reel up to never backlash when you're casting. That's what I love about this thing so much. If you can go into that $230 price range that you can get for this reel, I don't think you can beat that. This is just one of the best reels I've ever used. It's super smooth. And it's just, I don't ever really backlash this thing. So if you're looking for just a great reel, this is probably the way to go. $230, I know it's a little bit on the expensive side. I probably would never buy a reel more expensive than this, simply because this thing is so good. There's no reason to buy a more expensive reel than this. So this will probably be the most expensive reel I own for a really long time, just because it's so good. And there's no reason to go any more expensive than this Concept C. Alright, so now that I've showed you the bait casters that I have, I want to talk about one that I ordered that is incredible, that I can't wait to come in. And it is a 13 Fishing Inception reel. So that reel is $120, so it's pretty much half the price of the Concept C. But Cora and I went to the store and we played with it because the 8.1 to 1 gear ratio right-hand reel is out right now. But we wanted a 6.6 to 1 gear ratio in left-hand reel. Cora likes the left-hand reels just like I kind of do. I prefer them. And those are not out yet. But we went and played with the 8.1 to 1 right-hand reel, and it is incredible. It is smooth. The bearing system is fantastic in that reel. The free spool is like butter. That thing, you can spin it and it'll just spin forever. The free spool on that thing is incredible. It just looks like a great reel, and if it's half as good as this Concept C, it's going to be incredible for an entry-level bait caster. $120 for a bait caster is that's just the best reel on the market, I think, if you can get it for 120 bucks. Can't wait to use it. It's on pre-order. We're going to get it as soon as it comes out. So that's one I'm really looking forward to getting. If you want to know a little bit more information on the Inception, I know Fluke Master, the big bass YouTube guy, he uses those. He's a 13 Fishing sponsor, and he has nothing but good things to say about them. He's been using them for a while, since before they came out. But I can't wait to get my hands on it because just playing with it, looks like just an incredible reel. So I can't wait for that one to come out. Alright guys, so that is going to be it for this episode of Texas Redfish Hunter TV. I brought you through what I love for kayak fishing reels and what I look for in a kayak fishing reel. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. That would be much appreciated. If you guys have a reel that you absolutely love, definitely tell me about it in the comments below or email me at redhuntertx@gmail.com because I want to see what you guys use because I'm always down to try a new reel out. It's going to be really hard to pull me away from these type of reels because I love them so much, but if you guys can convince me, I'd really like to hear about it. Also, you can ask questions at the same places, comments or email, and I'll answer any questions that you guys have. As always, like us on Facebook, Texas Redfish Hunter TV. Follow us on Instagram, Texas Redfish Hunter, and check out the channel if you haven't. You want to see us catching redfish, trout, flounder, all that good stuff. It's on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time.